Hello. Welcome to Switched On with Joseph Barnett. Thank you very much for listening in. And if you're here and listening on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's the bottom right hand click button, as you can see looking on your screen. If you're on a desktop and mobile phone, I think it's exactly the same. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. We've really cracked on with the interview so far. We've just done one with a KGB agent named Jack Barsky, which was really, really good. Unbelievable story. Just finished one with David Icke yesterday as well. But today we are going to pick up on some current issues that have been going on. A lot has happened since the last show we'd done, which was a few weeks ago. I'm joined by the Moose as usual. Moose, how you doing?
Hello. How are you? All right?
Yeah, good as gold.
Yeah, lots going on, isn't it?
Loads. So, shall we start with current issues? Let's start with current issues.
Yeah, go on then.
I mean, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to discuss it. We've had the terrible murder of a young girl, Sarah Everard, who was walking from Clapham to Brixton on her own 50-minute walk. And it looks to be that a police officer had been arrested for a murder because they found remains at his property. It's all he's innocent till proven guilty. He's yet to go through the court of law, so we need to make that perfectly clear. But it does look like that he was he's been
charged with that murder.
Charged with that murder. So now it seemed that the situation has developed, and the murder of Sarah Everard has now turned into something else, and we're seeing protests on the streets. We're seeing now men being attacked, and it seems that we're seeing a movement that is not so much on the Sarah Everard now. It's now evolved onto something else, which seems to be this sort of attack on men. There seems to be a rapid generalisation of men and it's a very complex argument, this is, and I want to tread carefully before I start ranting, because I'm going to rant, because I'm not a woman. I don't understand that. I've actually witnessed misogyny massively, and I've actually intervened one time in Ibiza, and it is a place where anyone that knows it has been to Ibiza, people let themselves go and they lose control, but I see men taking advantage of that one time in a club, and I went up to him and I said basically and let him know what I thought of him. Now every woman has come out on the back of this Sarah Everard thing, which I think is positive. And I think misogyny is a big issue. I think that it's just been accepted over the years. The fact is that you can just judge a woman and look at her as an object. And in the workplace, it's I've seen it, I've witnessed it, and every woman has had that situation where they've been in an uncomfortable environment. But before I let you in on this, Moose, sorry, I think that what we're doing is now we're seeing a feminist movement take over, a movement that is out to protest and not actually to try and resolve any issues. We're seeing a movement that now is rapidly generalising men and saying that every man is capable of this type of atrocity. That are capable, every man needs to be careful when walking alongside a woman, or, we need to take that into account. Yeah. But what I found is now, and there's an attack on the police also now, and it's very similar to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. There are some similarities.
There is a similarity there where they're taking one incident that's happened in a different country and rapidly generalising the whole population. It didn't even happen here, but now our police are institutionally racist. And that is an issue. And there have been racism issues. But protesting on the street, attacking the police and going through violence and making and shouting and screaming isn't a way to resolve the issue. What you're going to do is alienate the vast majority of people that are actually decent. And I, being a decent person, as you, Moose, and not ever... I hate misogyny. I hate seeing it. I've been at the gym when people have stared a woman down like an object. It really bothers me. But I don't like the fact that this movement is now rapidly generalising, including me, because I've been put out by it, and alienating people. That's not going to get people on side.
No.
That's not going to get people looking at misogyny and saying, look, this wrong. You need to call it out if you're seeing someone being overly zealous with a woman. You need to call it out if someone is being creepy and looking at women like an object. You need to say, no, hold on. You need to stop that. That's fine. But this movement, this toxic movement now that you've seen, people being arrested and people taken to the streets saying, kill the bill.
Which is not, let's just to be clear, is not kill the old bill. It is a bill that they want to pass to stop protests.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is a bill to kill the bill to stop protesting and stuff like that, taking people's free speech away. Obviously the papers don't see it like that.
Kill the old bill.
Exactly.
Sorry, I was wrong.
I was too, and then I've done a little bit more research, and it is kill the bill to stop people protesting. There is a bill that they want to pass to be able to stop certain aspects of protesting, whether it be in large numbers or in certain areas, etc., etc. Yeah.
So what do you think then?
Yeah, what you said. We got a little bit of a difference of opinion.
Go for it.
A woman was killed by a person that worked for the police, allegedly. That's what happened. But I think the police handled it all wrong to be able to say they can't have a vigil where people can't gather. It wasn't a protest, it was just a vigil, and the Met Police said no. The reason the Met Police said no is because we're currently in a lockdown, which is fine, but we were currently in a lockdown when BLM happened and they allowed 15,000 in the Capitol. So I don't think that worked very well towards them. I don't think it was very clever of them to know that after that happened, to then go, we can feel your anger, we can feel your pain, and we can feel your frustration at the moment. We feel it too. Then don't put male policemen at a protest if you've got an inkling that it's going to kick off. They could have saved their own skin and made themselves look a lot better if they put female policemen there, rather than concentrating on male policemen throwing women around like ragdolls.
Well,
you've got. I totally agree with it.
You agree with the protesting?
No, I don't agree. I agree with the protesting. I do think that they have a little bit of a danger of it, just like BLM being hijacked and taking its own little run.
It has been hijacked. It has been hijacked. This is not about Sarah Everard anymore, is it? And you know, the police need to be looked into about what's gone on there. Because he exposed himself, that man, and he would have been arrested for that. And
he was still working.
It will all kind of come out. That will come out, and 100% that needs auditing, and whoever is responsible, that needs to be dealt with appropriately. And this is the same issue as racism. Misogyny is another issue that needs to be addressed in a positive way. I don't understand how, and I've seen it, the memes coming out again saying, it doesn't matter if you didn't do it. You need to realise it doesn't matter if you wasn't involved or you've never thought that way, but I need to approach you in an aggressive manner like that and say, you do need to realise you're part of the problem if you don't know, if you turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't turning a blind eye to it. I'm not turning a blind eye to it, but I find myself being alienated by this movement, and this movement is toxic. They are not out to actually try and rectify this problem with misogyny. These protesters are Marxists. They're out to disrupt they're out to disrupt as much as they possibly can.
A number, not all of them.
Not all of them. I imagine, no, 100% correct. There was partly a vigil that was initially there, and that was positive.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll add a little bit onto it as well. It also correlating the way the media portray things, right? In November, October, November time, we had protesters on the street. They They were protesting lockdowns, or protesting coronavirus.
Yep.
Now, as crazy as that may be, with the latter, coronavirus, because I disagree with lockdowns, as we both do, and we've discussed that.
Yep.
They were the posters of the spread of corona via the media. They were memed that don't blame Boris Johnson, blame these people on the street.
Yep.
They were the dog shit of society, basically, as portrayed. Why aren't the same attention being taken to these protesters? Is it because, well, it isn't. I'll tell you, it 100% is because they're a part of this liberal narrative. And it seems that there's a certain narrative here, and if it's to do with liberalism and this movement of feminism, liberalism, and trying to, it seems like they're indoctrinated. These people, it's so toxic, and we need to wake up, because there needs to be movements that are so positive to try and help everyone. I don't understand how parading on the streets, fighting with the old bill, and I know the old bill did arrest them, but they're breaking corona rules. They're trying to not spread the virus, and this isn't been evenly dealt with like the people in October and November, when they were the responsible for one spreading the virus. What's happened to the NHS narrative now? What are we in March? Why aren't we protecting the NHS no more? Why has that gone out the window? What's the narrative now? We're coming out of it. Yeah, okay, the case and figures have dropped. Well, they can soon fucking go back up again, can't they?
Yep.
So why is it in the media that we're protecting the NHS? Where's the fucking nurses coming out on Facebook saying how shit everyone is out on the street?
Yep.
It's all gone quiet. And I'll tell you what, you need to take a long look in the mirror, anyone that's come out and started slagging them people off and putting it on Facebook and all their social media, that they're the dog shit of society, but yet turn a blind eye to this. You need to look in the mirror, because you're not being consistent.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, go on.
But I will say this. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be changed, and hopefully this horrible situation of that poor woman, something good comes of it. There is no reason why stalker laws are the way they are now. They have to change.
Yep.
Of where a woman can't, a man stalking a woman can't get arrested because he hasn't stabbed her or hurt her yet. Ridiculous. Absolutely stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. And just like BLM, a person in the police force took advantage of his position, and they killed a man in America, the George Floyd incident.
Yeah.
A very similar incident has happened here, but I guarantee you those parents will not get a £27 million payout like George Floyd families just had. But it's exactly the same situation. A policeman that took advantage of his job, knows he's there to protect people. He's taken that and he's abused it and he's killed someone. Exactly the same situation. And George Floyd's family's just been paid $27 million. That girl's family,
well,
God knows.
It's very early on. They're certainly not going to get 27 million.
No, of course they're not.
It's because of what it was to do with.
And I'm not saying that the money's important, but the rules are the same.
Well, let's be honest. The reason it was so heightened is it's because it's to do with racism.
Absolutely.
And if it's to do with racism, it everything becomes out of control, and everyone then becomes a racist. And it's the same narrative as this protesting, even though it's a lot smaller scale. But because it's to do with a certain subject, then that's it. Everyone goes nuts. And how? This is what I want to know. BLM approached them many times. I can't speak to anyone, even via Zoom. I even approached Alicia Garza, who's the creator. But these protest groups, and the same as the ones that come out post Sarah Everard, and I don't like comparing that to Sarah Everard, because that poor girl, and now her friends didn't want to turn up to the protest because they don't feel it's for her.
That's right.
Which is a terrible shame, and I can't imagine what that girl was going through. I dread to think, and it's a real shame that we're actually leading on to talking about this. But how these protest groups can then get people on the ground the next day and protest. Who's funding that?
I understand what you're saying, but all these things aside, this would never ever happen if the Met Police could conduct themselves in a better way. This is all Met Police's fault. They fucked up.
Oh, 100%.
You've got Carissa Dick saying that I would have turned up at that vigil if I was allowed. Don't say stupid things like that. Do not say stupid things like that. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely stupid. You need damage control. You need to work on damage control rather than saying that you should have been there. There was a man that allegedly had exposed himself before that incident of allegedly killing that woman. So why was he still in employment? Why wasn't he suspended in an investigation?
I think that's got to be looked
fucked up.
Oh, 100%. And I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Moose. And there needs to be something that looks at that and goes, hold on, what has happened here? We need a massive... there is going to be one, an investigation. And there needs to be a movement to say every woman does need to come out and say, yeah, we need to stop this. But not in a way that it rapidly generalises everyone and starts alienating people, because that's not going to help the cause.
But can we argue it? Because at the end of the day, have we got an argument when we could never go to a protest where the shoe's on the other foot? Where a woman policeman's killed a man, or a woman has killed a man or abused a man. Or I know that happens. It's
rare, but it happens.
But I'm talking about on this scale. You very rarely... Like when women joggers a couple of weeks ago, due to the coronavirus and the lockdowns, where women are going for jogging, and a lot of them, a high percentage of them, are being sexually assaulted as they're jogging. That doesn't happen.
High percentage of them are not, but there are percentage.
But it happens. Yeah. Whether it's 1 in 1,000, it still happens.
It still happens.
But it doesn't work the other way.
No, because because male and female, male are the strongest sex, and are usually
we abuse it.
Are usually the ones that are the aggressor, and the statistics and data is there to prove that. Men are often the ones that rape women. They often commit crime against women. However, that being said, it does happen where women do that on the other side.
But on the scale, nowhere near. On the scale of men to women, nowhere near.
But then you can look at that and say, and you can look at that and say, well, the incident with Sarah Everard is extremely rare. Hence the reason why it's obviously becomes such a big issue. Men are not often following women on the street and killing them. No. But I know every woman has dealt with some form of issues where they've had to been put in a position more than once by an overzealous man. And as I say, I agree. I hate misogyny so much. I hate that general wolf whistling, and it really winds me up. Well, and that's just the minor stuff, but
it's caveman shit.
Yeah, it's just I really hate it. But there needs to be something or some person that's speaking out. But these politicians now, they're so fucking cardboard cut out. They're so scared to actually try and question this protesting group and say, no, we need to be more positive now. There needs to be someone out coming and saying, look, let's try and get a movement going that combines both sexes, that goes out there and says, right, we both need to realise that what's being going on, and all the women that have had issues, they need to come out and say, not everyone's going to, but there's ways about going about things, trying to incorporate everyone and trying to make them understand. It just seems like that everyone is just... It becomes a point of where it's so over the top, and they cast everyone on the same boat.
Okay, let's say this then. Let's say that in the last 5 years, protesting has been the way to go. There's been a lot of protests over the last 5 years.
There's protesting every day.
There are, but I'd say in the last 3 or 4 years, maybe more heightened than ever. Whether it be free speech marches going through the centre of London, BLM marches, these stuff like this. Now, we all know deep down in our hearts that whether you're going on a protest or whether you're not, whether you're there or watching it on the news, they achieve nothing. Protests do nothing. But on the hindsight of that, I can appreciate that during this case of a woman being murdered, that it's not so much of a protest, but to go down there and say, look, this needs to stop. It's going in a wrong direction. Laws need to be changed, blah, 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 blah. Totally understand it. To voice your opinion. But if you are going to protest that and say misogyny needs to change, men against women crimes, blah blah blah, and I'm not speaking about it light-hearted, I'm generally all for it, but then where's the protest from those people when a child gets murdered by a paedophile, or parents misuse a child, mistreat a child and kill them? I never saw one protest about baby P. I never saw one protest about.
There was.
Sorry, what, highly politicised like a BLM protest? No, absolutely not. But if anything angered the country more, it would have been that poor little baby. And don't get me wrong, and I hate using that as an example, because there are thousands and thousands of children that are abused every day by parents, but there's not one protest about it that the news will touch or a paper will touch, because it's led in the right direction. These protests now are very easily hijacked, as they have been, and then they all go to shit. And that's why the papers latch onto them, because they know where they're going. Papers ain't stupid.
Well, I completely agree. You're 100% correct. It has been latched onto by a group that doesn't care about Sarah Everard's death. You're exactly right, and that's what gets onto my whole point, is that who's funding that? Who's been able to get these people out onto the street as quickly as that? They're being funded, and it's the same as BLM. BLM was funded by corporations.
Yep.
We've had Extinction Rebellion on for the first show. They're being funded by a guy that owns half of quarter of Evo Airport, Chris Holm, Sir Christopher Holm, who is he's a billionaire, and he's funding Extinction Rebellion. It's a smoke and mirrors scenario, and what they're designed to do is cause disruption. Go on.
We also know there's various people in them establishments that are paid to cause trouble. And to be poster people and to get their front page on the news. And I hate to say it, and I hope I'm wrong, but that woman that was on the front of the paper is being held down by police.
I see that.
And again, I'm guessing, I don't know any of this a fact, but it seems to be the same thing over and over again. That woman was put there knowing full well what she was going to do. She put herself in the wrong position. Not everyone was doing it. She put herself in the wrong position at the right time to be able to be there for a picture, and then it's something as easy as that.
And it's massively used.
Of course, you become a poster person for that cause.
Martyr.
Remember this person. Look at that.
Yeah.
Remember this person. Look, with all the placards and stuff.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, there was the terrible event of that young dead boy that was on the seafront, and it was part of the immigration narrative, wasn't it?
That's right.
That young kid, and it didn't happen that way, did it?
No,
it was
didn't.
the parent. It was completely different in the way, but it was used as as an attack on the government for not allowing migrants into the country. But I think, you're exactly right.
Horrible situation, like you say about the man holding his dead son on the beach. How the papers put it, it was more of a picture opportunity than it was of an informational piece. Of look, that is a snapshot of. You don't need an explanation, because that picture carries all the weight it needs to be. And then you go, oh yeah, there's a man holding his dead boy that's come over on a boat or a floating door or whatever, and then you go straight away, I don't care about none of that, he's holding his son.
It's so true, and it gets to this point that I want to make, and it is, and I was speaking to David Icke about it yesterday, funny enough, and you can say what you want about David Icke, but we had a complete agreement on this subject, and it is people are so easily swayed by what they see on their the forefront in the media, and they don't realise that these media corporations have huge narratives and are run by massive corporations, big corporations that have liberal narratives and some right-wing narratives, and they're both as bad as each other. They're both as bad as each other. The right wingers are both, but it seems like there's this liberal movement that now is toxic. It may change, but everyone looks at what they see and doesn't do their own research into something and then make and cast their opinions. They both look, and it's to do with what you see on social media and how they predict your algorithm. You only see what you want to see, and that then gives you this certain judgment. And you look at something, and it's the same as the BLM thing, and it's the same as this movement now. You could look into it for a little bit of research and find out who's funding them. You could look into BLM and find out who's funding them and what the actual cause is and where it's actually gone. What's happened to BLM? What has that led to? Tell me what that's led to positively, without alienating the silent majority. Because I tell you what, the silent majority, and I'll speak to them, are more alienated by these movements than not. Extinction Rebellion. You look at the movement they're doing, blocking bridges and stopping people getting to hospitals. Britain is 1% of the carbon emissions. And what has that done? Tell me what that movement has done.
I'll tell you,
try and help me.
100%. But a lot of people won't like it. What BLM's done and what they've achieved is you see a few more black presenters on television now than you did before it happened. That's it. You see a lot more black people on television now, and they're given the torch to do it. That's as simple as that. Because all that's done is scared every corporation into thinking, God, we haven't got enough black people working it.
The corporations are backing them. But racism is a huge issue. It's a huge problem. BLM isn't the tool to try and solve it. And I think black people are being used in that way. Yeah. As you said, we'll get a black person on that advert. We'll get a black person on that. It's not.
It's the equivalent of going, there you go.
And it's more of an insult to black people.
There you go. You've got your own show.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look what we're doing. It's all. It's style without substance. They're just showing you what they're trying to do.
But now, should that black presenter turn around and go, no, fuck off. I know why you're doing it. But big sack of pirate coins. I'll swallow the calls. Is it a case of that?
It's very complex, but I agree with what you're saying, and we go into BLM again, and we talk about them a lot, and I wish that they would respond to me. Alicia Garza did, and I tried to get someone representative on to even talk to on Zoom, and they don't want to know. I don't think they're talking to anyone at the minute, but it's complex, and
going back to the protest for the woman that was murdered, to put it in how I can relate to that, if, say for example, me and you decided to go to a protest of a man being found not guilty of murdering a child, right? Now, if we was to turn up to that protest to protest against that decision, I don't think I could contain my anger with police holding me back, saying, get back, without me going, the reason that it's walking is because you dropped a step. I can imagine myself with the same anger over a situation like that. So just because I can't relate to the anger that they must be feeling there, and I can understand the anger they must be feeling there, because that anger's been there for a lot of years in regard to women have been told for years to say, did you get sexually assaulted at work? Write down what you was wearing. That's just been the staple of every working environment for ages. But just because I can't relate to the anger, does it mean that I have to diminish it and to throw it aside and go, what are you doing? But because I can only put myself into a protest of where I would feel that anger being pushed back by police in that situation that I just give, without not getting angry and fighting back. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, because I understand what you're saying. I think there was genuine people there that did have that thought process. But I think that it was overturned by this movement, this toxic movement that then got involved and created chaos. And I think the police stop it. Look, on an overall scale, and I was asking for transparency in the way that the people were being dealt with that were protesting earlier. Everyone has the right to protest, and during Corona or not. And the data, Corona doesn't spread outside. The data's there to prove that. Wearing a mask or not, Corona does not spread outside.
But they were all wearing, the majority of them were wearing masks anyway. BLM wasn't.
And we shouldn't have problems, regardless of BLM or whatever. We shouldn't have problems with people protesting outside and everything like that. And I don't care whether we're in a pandemic or not, because I feel that the government and the public, the general public, have not fought their cause in regards to fighting lockdown. I think we've just allowed this to happen. It's come out that the government haven't done an audit into the effects of the economy and what we're going into. There hasn't even been a brief that the Telegraph reported on. They haven't even been briefed about what we're going into. And that is extremely worrying. And I'll tell you why it's extremely worrying. Because the numbers are going to go up with corona. Once everyone goes out again, and once everyone's in the summer months, it's fine. But when people get sick again in the winter, like everything does, then the main way they're going to use to try and rectify this issue is lock everyone up again. And it needs the general public to try and fight it, to say, no, this isn't good enough. You need to try and look for a different target. But I think that we've just allowed it. We've just gone, oh, I'll be locked up. I'll just continue to lock me up, and I will continue.
All right, I'll take your point. So let's say there's another lockdown and we get another anti-lockdown protest. Why not protest outside the building where it makes a difference, rather than outside a monument in London or just the next? Go and protest outside the House of Commons, or somewhere where they notice you, rather than 100 miles away in the middle of a park.
Yeah, but protests, isn't it?
They achieve nothing.
I don't know. Well, you look at the yellow vests and in France, and they managed to get a taxation. But they're extremely French, and they're very patriotic, and they will stick to their guns, and they're renowned for protesting. And they protested taxation, and they got it overturned. And Macron is
that would never happen.
He's about to be well, I don't know when the next election is, but he has no chance of winning the next election. And Marine Le Pen, actually, the right wing movement in France, is looking to take power in France. Is a very again polarized. I think most of Europe is polarized, in opinion, and now it seems to be left and right, and now we've got the royals coming up into the equation, the royal family, and Meghan and Harry's interview, even though that happened a couple of weeks ago.
That's going to be spoken about for months to come.
That's going to be spoken about for months to come. And, we had Harry and Meghan on Oprah Winfrey in the States that was released, and it was made, pictured around the world, basically opening up about institutional racism or an incident with racism, and how they were basically chucked to the wayside, how all of the issues within the royal family have now been put in the public eye. What do you think about that?
I watched that interview, and the James Corden one.
I didn't see that. I've got to be honest, I hate James Corden.
I
don't know him, but I just don't find him funny whatsoever.
Probably the most talented man to come out of the UK, probably since Winston Churchill. So I watched the James Corden interview, which is absolutely fucking messy, and then I watched the Oprah Winfrey one. Let's just edit that.
Dude, no, carry on. Go on. Get camera shots of Moose having a fight with a mic. Oh.
So I watched the Oprah Winfrey one, and I saw it from sort of both sides. The moment I lost interest is, all right, they don't want to be royals anymore. Do you get that? I can totally get it. Imagine if you lived in a family of 8, and then your husband's relative has just been found out to have underage sex with a lot of girls and been associated with known paedophiles. I'd want to leave. I'd want to leave myself. But then you have that racism amongst the royal family. You're joking. Royal family are racist? Go on YouTube and just type in Prince Philip and see the shit that he said over the last 10, 15 years. The man is an absolute. They all are. But that's institutionalised in the royal family to be racist.
Yeah.
But for him to turn around and go, do you know what? For Harry to turn around and go, I'm totally shocked by it. I was blindsided until Meghan brought it to my attention. You once dressed up as a Nazi at a fancy dress costume, as a fancy dress evening. You went dressed as a Nazi, And you was also on radio when you was obviously he was in the armed forces, wasn't he? In Afghanistan, wasn't he?
Yeah. And he called someone else.
He called his friend a Paki. So I think he's well versed enough in racism.
Yeah, but you're generalising.
I'm not.
You are, because you...
Not anyone in good taste or being a royal would say, do you know what?
It was
Dressing up
silly,
a Nazi,
but don't forget, we've all done, I got arrested when I was a teenager.
Well, you should. That's how I've done.
And that I'm not that person no more. So,
But you're not a royal.
I'm not a royal, no, but everyone's young and everyone makes mistakes. Just because he dressed as a Nazi, was having a laugh at party, doesn't make him...
But don't turn around and go, I was blindsided by it. I didn't know it was going on.
It's a very complex, because there's two ways. I'm not a royalist. I don't believe in the aristocracy.
Can't stand them.
I don't like the aristocracy. I don't believe in the fact is just because someone was born in a bloodline, they should be able to be funded by the taxpayer. They should be able to go around the world and say and how to talk down on us about climate change, and Prince Charles talking about the Great Reset. Fuck off. You ain't had to worry about a pound note in your life, mate. Don't try and fucking coming to me and try and tell me what to do and what to think. But I could go off.
Yeah, because if he was here, knock you out. So you want to watch your step.
I tell you what, son. No, who's that?
That's Uncle Albert from Only Fools and Horses. Yeah, I'll tell you what, son.
Bloody.
I do agree with you.
I'll fucking knock you out.
I do agree with you.
No, wait. Right. I don't agree with that. They're born into a bloodline and they're able to do this. Never had to worry about a pound note in their life, and they wonder why they all live over 100, because they ain't had stress to fucking worry about in their life. They don't live. They're not like us.
No, lizards.
They're lizards. And I spoke to David Icke and he confirmed that yesterday. But
watch V.
Yeah. But from, if I was a royal.
Yep.
And you.
Yep.
Were Harry and I was William.
Right.
You'd met Meghan, and these royals, they want to make sure that the public are not involved in their actions, despite them being funded by the public, and they are a huge tourist attraction for the United Kingdom, the English monarchy. There's no doubt about that. But just to keep that afloat and to be able to keep that functioning, because if the public turn against the royal family, that over the years, you look at Spain, you look at France. Spain got rid of their monarchy in the early 1920s because they don't believe in this, that the monarchy should reign over someone just because you're born into a family. No. Now, if the public turn and they put it in the public eye, that like Harry has done, that, wow, someone made a comment about his son being what colour skin he would be.
Yeah, what shade?
You got to think, where's Harry coming from? And the hate. And what's happened between him and the family for him to be openly willing to come out on national TV and cast your own flesh and blood, your brother, he put his brother in the firing line to be cast as a racist, and he has allowed that to happen. He's got advisors. Why would you think?
So did Prince Andrews.
Well, I'll get onto him in a minute. But why would you think, if I was Prince Harry,
right,
and we were brothers, why would you want to do that to your own family unless you've got so much hatred? It does signify what's gone on there. It really must. They must be at such a poor relationship level, because for him to go on Oprah and allow that to be said is, from a flesh and blood perspective, unforgivable.
Not in the respect of, if you look at it as,
I'm glad they done it.
No, yeah. I'm sure Oprah Winfrey is as well. But they will never win. The royal family will always win, because people will always love the royals more, and they will always
I don't think so.
They will always see these two as turning their back on it. The Crown was one of the most watched things on Netflix. People still dig it. People still dig them inbreeding fuckers, and that's what I don't understand. If you can turn around and go, I was really offended that I had a conversation that someone asked me what shade of my baby was. So I went home, told Meghan about it, who's obviously feeling a little bit suicidal at the moment because she's got mental issues and stuff, because she said, didn't she, I felt quite suicidal and I wanted to kill myself. But they still went out and stuff. I don't get that. All that stuff. I'll come to one in a minute. But I don't think they will ever win because they're hated now.
I don't think that. Well, it seems to be half and half. I'm not, and again, I'm not a fan of the royals. I'm not a fan of the royal family. But Meghan Markle, and again, it's very much conjecture. We don't know what's gone on, and we're basing our opinions and assumptions of something that we really don't know about. But I'm going to go for it anyway. You have to look at Meghan's history. She's an actress, a thespian. She likes, she likes the attention.
Oh, see, I don't.
You can't. All right, but hear me out. And again, it's based on something that we don't know about what's gone on. Okay. So I'm not saying that this is true, but you have to look into this side. And Meghan said...
So what's her reputation? You tell me her reputation.
Well, I don't think she's got a bad reputation. I'm just saying she's an actress.
After I told you Harry's reputation.
She's a career actress. She wants to be an actress. And actresses, they want to be in the limelight as such to be able to boost their career. They want to be liked. They want to be loved. Now, what's going to be key? I'll tell you what will be key. Okay? Is where this goes from here and what Meghan and Harry do post this interview. And that will give you an indication of their intentions. Things are going to plan out. And I'm not saying either side is right or wrong. I don't agree with what Harry's done. What Harry done, selling out his family like that, is unforgivable. Like, from a personal family perspective, from what he has done, right? And I'm not a fan of the royals, but what he has done is fucking outrageous. He's so bang out of order. And you had William and Kate walking down to go into a public event and the press asking them if they're racist. They're clearly not. Yeah, but
you don't know that.
I don't know that, but I can't imagine. Again, I'm basing it on assumption. But William and Kate come through to me as the rules are. And, going full circle a little bit, I don't hate them. I don't hate William and Kate. I think they're, I
don't hate anybody.
No, but
they're nothing to me.
Well, and the royals, would you want the royal family removed from London? Like, if anyone,
yes.
You would want them completely removed.
They're a tourist attraction, but when you go from what the royal family did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago,
raped and pillaged land.
But they also had the power of an opinion to be able to tell the people that they ruled over, this is my opinion on this, cut that fucker's head off.
But what about modern day?
Yeah, but now the Queen has only got the power to give Ronnie Corbett an OBE. This is what I'm saying. They've got no political
She's a
views.
monarchy. They still have overall power as such.
No,
but it is...
Parliament tells them what to do.
Well, they pretty much do. But as the book goes, the Queen has the last word. Well, like she does when she...
I'm sure she don't give a shit. Why would she give a shit? She's not going to put her nose into someone, to any business and say, here's my opinion on Sarah Everard being murdered. You're not going to hear that.
I think, and also, I'm not a fan of the royal family, as I keep saying like a parrot. But there seems to be a narrative as well to try and take our identity being an Englishman. If you're an Englishman and you love your country, you're seen as some form of EDL member now. You look at the George flag, you look at the Union Jack. They're almost cast as a racist representation. And now it goes with the royal family as well. That is, you can say what you want about them. They're born into a bloodline, like I've just said, and I don't agree with them overall. But they are an identity of England. And when you go through London, you go through England, in particular London, you look through London, it's rich in history. Some negative, some positive. And you look at the royal family and what they've done, it's so rich and so historic. Yes, some of it is terrible, but I wouldn't want that removed because it's part of our history. They're part of England. They're part of the Commonwealth as well. And I wouldn't want the royal family removed from that. I don't want our identity taken away. And that is a big part of our identity. And it seems like if you're a middle-aged white man and you're from England now, you're practically dog shit.
I mean, to pick up the point that you said about being hated for loving your country, I don't think even if you was to ask many people my age on what you love about it, not too much at the minute. Because politicians aren't working our way, laws aren't working our way.
Yeah, but it's only derived from what you see in the media. It's all negative sensationalism. You know, they only want you to see the shit that's going on. Yeah, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I agree with you. I agree. Yeah, there's not a lot to look forward to, but you know, as a country.
But I also have I know what you're saying.
Go on.
For a bloke that will go on the news or go on Facebook and go, do you know what? I had the police come on knocking on my door the other day because I erected a huge 12-foot George cross in my back garden. Why do you want to do that? Because you can't get hold of an American flag that you want to put in your garden, a certain American flag you want to put in your garden. Because let's face it, if you want to erect a flag in your garden on a 15-foot flagpole that blocks out your neighbour's son,
but this, I agree, and you have got, and it does seem to be adopted by white EDL members, you know, like this thing. But I'm telling you, as a person, as a 34-year-old man who is white, I love England. I love my country.
So do I.
Is that seen as a nationalist? Am I seen as a racist because I love my country? It seems like if you're a Welsh nationalist or you're a Scottish nationalist, it's absolutely fine. But if you love England because of the association with our history and pillaging land, etc., that I'm somehow adopted into that.
Yeah, but
because I love England, it seemed like it's unfashionable now, and it seems like this movement is also adopted into the royal family. We end up fucking selling our identity away, I tell you. We will sell our identity away if we're allowing this toxic liberal movement to try and take our identity. And that's what they're trying to do. And it needs people to start speaking up and start saying, no, I'm proud to be British. I'm proud to be a man and I'm white. Is that unfashionable?
That's bang out of order. Bang out of order. But, yeah, I sort of understand what you're saying. Me, myself, I've never been pushed into a category. I don't like being labelled, you're right or you're left or whatever. You love England, you hate England. That is a label given to you by politicians because if you didn't have that label, they'd be out of work. So they label you right and left because they need us to fight to have jobs.
Yeah.
If we was all labelled the same thing, they wouldn't need them anymore. We'd all be dancing around maypoles every May.
Yeah. Now you've gone to a good level of open-mindedness because you're looking at us as just human beings, and we've given this foundation, this implementation of structures and classes and races, and we're fighting in that. We're fighting in that, and it is very.
Now, let's be honest.
People don't think like that. Though,
in the years that we've had it, and what's gone on and what we've been allowed to get away with for so many years, I guarantee you, and you'd have to be honest with yourself, that when you heard him say, when you heard Harry say, I was approached and someone asked me what colour my baby, I guarantee you 90% of the country went, what's the big deal? What's the big deal with that?
Yeah, and there seems to be...
But is that right?
The media also, they got on Meghan's back, etc., and they did at a certain extent. But initially, when she married Harry, they loved her.
Of course.
And I don't think... It's confusing because, again, it's based on... We're making assumptions and things about what's gone on that we don't really know.
Only what we watched, yeah.
As again, reverting back, for him and her to say that about them and knowing that's gone out in the media, something serious.
Oh, it's deeper. It goes deeper than that.
Something serious has happened between them in a relationship.
Of course.
It seems to me that is Harry's last resort. He's been completely chucked to the wayside by the royals, and that was his last resort.
But I don't think it's got anything to do with her being black.
No.
I really don't. Royal family racist? Oh, 100% they are. Of course they are. Towards her? Probably not. They were just being their normal selves and she took stuff the wrong way. I don't understand how whoever said that, how thousands of years worth of inbreeding, but yet a shade of a baby bothers them. And I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, and you made a valid point. They do marry into bloodlines, and that's how the aristocracy works. They want to marry into this bloodline to make sure that they keep going, keep staying at the top.
Yeah.
That's the way they work. And looking at a white or that aristocratic family and being all white, I think some of them definitely had a problem with Meghan.
Although saying that,
because of her skin colour.
Why was Oprah Winfrey at their wedding?
She only met her once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why was she at a wedding?
Don't know.
Was this a setup
Signal?
from the beginning?
I think that...
Does she want a second series of Suits?
But, yeah. I never watched it. But I think that certain people certainly would have had a problem with Meghan being black. Or half. She's mixed race.
But her arguments to it are valid. We were told there would never be a prince, it would never be this, it would never be that. So we didn't come out and do the royal photo. That's why we didn't do it.
And I think that...
Fair enough.
And being a negative towards Meghan and Harry, I tell you what, this is a big positive. And she made a really good point is, okay, well, they don't want to protect us and they want to chuck us to the wayside. And... everyone that slagged off Meghan seems to have forgot that she said this, but they want to protect someone else who is actually a paedophile.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, she's absolutely spot on. I'm sorry, she's spot on. And
can't argue it, can you?
And she is. You can tell she is a powerful, independent woman, and they don't like that. She is certainly someone that isn't going to be told what to do, and that's clear. She's not going to be adopted into this family and doing the standard role. She's not your standard royal. She's a self-made actress, and she's not been born into that. She's come up from a different way. She's a different person, and that's showing. So I don't want to cast my opinions on either way.
No.
And slagging Meghan off because we really don't know what's gone on. But Harry's point of view, I don't disagree with what he's done.
No.
But
Oprah probably wasn't the best way to go.
I don't want to contradict myself because I'm not a royalist.
No.
And I don't like the way the infrastructure works within the royal family. But I'm down the line. I'm down the line because...
All right, then. So what about this then? What about Piers Morgan walking off over that free speech, over him walking out on his job and saying, I don't want to do GMB anymore.
Again,
because I'm allowed to turn around out of free speech and say, I think she's lying about her own mental health.
Yeah,
you can't say that.
Well, he's entitled to his opinion and she might be lying.
Absolutely. But who is he to say? Who is he? This man hacked a dead girl's phone.
Yeah, you're part of the Levinson inquiry.
I can't stand him. I'm glad he's gone.
I don't like Piers Morgan. He's
a shock jock.
He's a shock jock, and he uses the badger in the witness type factoid journalism. So you'll find any time he interviews someone, he will stick on one standpoint that he's been briefed on, and he will only stick to that
and nothing else.
And nothing else. And that's the way he works. And I don't like him. I don't like him at all. But he knows Meghan. He's met her. And he has big issues with her, and he's entitled to air that opinion. And
now I think it's a setup. I don't think it's a setup. He's the argument he had with a weather guy. I can't remember his name, but
he was out to get him.
But Piers Morgan said, "And I invited you on. I brought you on today to talk about it." Now he invited that guy on. He spoke to him about it, and then the guy said, "You had a relationship with Meghan." Then she cut you off, and then he gets up and walks away. After all the stuff that he's done and heard and been called over the years, that pushed his buttons?
I think, I think that, you know what I mean? If the amount of shit he's given people over the years, for him to walk out like that...
It does seem a bit odd.
I think, you know what I mean? You got to give it... he certainly gives it. And the bloke, fair play to him, you know what I mean? He was out to get him. He was out to get Piers Morgan.
But valid points,
and he
not
did
bullshit.
make valid points. He did make valid points because... Piers is exceptionally concentrated on the relationship he has, and he seems personally put out by it. And you know,
there's something going on there anyway.
It's a weird situation because he told the story like she contacted him or he contacted her about Suits. Then she come to the UK and went to a pub with him, and they had dinner a few times. And then she went to the pub with him before the party that she was going to meet him, and then never spoke to him again. So he seemed a bit put out by that, but why would you be?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't, unless there's some personal, not anything going on, but I'm just saying he was really put out by that, weren't he? And it seems to have transpired into his overall point of view towards her. But he thinks that she's a ladder climber, trying to get up the upper echelons, and she managed to get to the pinnacle.
Oh, and speaking of television shows, did you watch The Walking Dead the other day?
No.
Sorry, Philip coming out of hospital. Did you see him get in that fucking car? Come on.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Behave yourself.
Yeah, he's 99 now, isn't he?
I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but that's the worst CGI I've ever seen.
Oh, don't start. Honestly, there was one bloke, and it was Joe Biden coming out to question the press, and he was walking down like he does.
Yeah.
Just chugging along, and he's very blunt, Joe Biden, and he just went, what do you want, like, basically, and he put his hand over, he got close to the camera, and if you can see on the camera now, while I go like that, the camera goes funny in pixelation.
Oh, yeah. Is that him changing into his alien form?
No, it picks up in pixelation. And I know because when you look at cameras, it does do that sometimes. He got very close to the mic, and anyway, it looks like his hand goes over the mic, and they're going, oh my God, that's so clearly CGI. Oh my God, it's CGI. And it started, there's these people in England, he's some fitness guy up north. It's clearly CGI. And I commented on it, and I went, that's not CGI, that's pixelation. And also, what is the narrative in trying to CGI him talking to the press, or is he a lizard? And he instantly responded and went, oh, we've got the denial is strong in this one. When's your second vaccine, mate? Then deleted all comments to make sure you can't respond back to him. Disabled all comments, and these people that have these conspiracy theories, it's so intellectually weak that because it doesn't. There's no.
It isn't. I understand what you're saying. So let's say, did you see the footage of the old boy coming out of the hospital? They put him behind protective sheets, so you couldn't see him. Then they put him in a car with normal glass in it, so you could have your picture taken anyway.
I obviously haven't thought about it, but
he's a 99-year-old man.
Yeah, but the flash cameras can get through them darkened windows, can't they?
Can they?
Yeah.
Oh, does it work like that?
Well, why do you think they take pictures of them murderers when they go past in the vans?
But then why wouldn't that be darkened glass? Because obviously, let's face it, he don't look like a young, strapping 25-year-old. He looks like a tortoise without his shell on.
What's the motive in CGIing it?
No, I was joking. I'm not saying he's genuinely being CGI. I don't think Pixar's behind fucking Prince Philip coming out of hospital.
It's just there are some conspiracies that are genuinely true, that are certainly worth investigating. And I'd say JFK is certainly one of them, and 9/11. It has many incidences with rubble removal and the investigation being underfunded, and the engineers that have come out and questioned the actual way that they say it collapsed and stuff like that. 100% that can be investigated. There's generally a conspiracy there in the way it's investigated and stuff like that. But then it goes on to...
But again, what we're talking about, death of Princess Diana. That's a conspiracy theory in itself, because there are some facts there that don't add up. There are witness statements, the things that happened to the driver, the police,
that was very,
ambulance.
very dodgy, Princess Diana. I'll tell you for why. Princess Diana was being followed by the MI6, and that's come out on record.
She wrote it down, didn't she?
Well,
checking under a car for bombs.
She prophesied her own death, that she would die in a car accident. And she wrote about it a few years before, and talking about, I think it was an affair with Tiggy rather than Camilla, who was some other woman that was involved, and Diana was paranoid about an affair. Well, he was having an affair. And Diana, again, was she had the Panorama interview, come out speaking about the royals. She was dangerous. She was dangerous for the monarchy, because she was very powerful and loved. And when, as I said to you before, when the Meghan scenario, when the public turn on a monarchy that is run by the public, if you turn, then that questions its existence then in itself. And when you have characters like this that do that, I think that...
She was never seen as a royal, was she? From people watching on telly, she was the closest to a normal person that they had.
She was loved, and she was loved more than the Queen.
Because she had two boys as well, I think helps connect the families and stuff.
Diana was clearly a genuinely nice person
Mm-hmm.
that was very in crosswires as a young person, being sort of indoctrinated into the royal family and trying to go along with this life.
Yeah.
It wasn't fitting.
No.
And Charles never loved her. Charles always loved Camilla. She was the poster girl, Diana, and she was often very lonely, and she would often write to herself, and she was heavily followed by the press, and she really was just there was often be stories about her driving around London and talking to poor people, giving them money, and she just seemed like a really nice person, but she was very heavily criticised the royals, and that, you have to ask yourself the motives, and the way that she went in the under the tunnel.
A relationship with a Muslim man as
a
well.
Muslim man, and the pregnancy issue, which apparently is not true. They under a post-mortem, but then again,
What else would they tell us?
who does a post-mortem? The royal and I'm sorry. I think that there is a conspiracy involved in that. There was many things, and an MI6 agent, I can't remember his name, come out and said that the way that they were following Diana, and the way that she was killed was very similar way that the MI6 planned to kill Slobodan Milosevic, and that was to get him in a tunnel and flash a blinding light into the eyes. In doing so, taking the vision away, making them crash. So, is the motive there to have her killed, and are they capable?
Now,
yes, I believe they are.
Now, if me and you are having a discussion about it, what's gone on in William and Harry's head for the last 25 years, 30 years? Of seeing their mum taken away from them, listening to all them conspiracy theories and not having them one themselves. Wouldn't you want to fucking get out? Wouldn't you want to leave it all behind? So you got a family member that's just been done for associating himself, well, he's not even been done, associating himself with a convicted paedophile and child trafficker. Mum mysteriously dies in an underpass with not much of an explanation, knowing full well that your dad loves another woman called Camilla anyway. Come on, do you need to go on?
Yeah, I mean,
the constant all the rumours about Charles not being my dad and I'm Hewitt's son and stuff like. No, but he still listens to it. And it's still there. So he's got to hear his mum brought up every couple of years about, we think Elton John killed her so he'd get a #1 single and all shit like that. So
I think you just made that one up.
We'll see. I
was trying to get the effects on there. They don't seem to be working.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's perfect. Why is that lasting that long?
So what was I saying? So that kid has had to sit there, and let's be honest, if we're talking about it, then it has to be a natural thought of, oh, Dad, how did Mum really die? Was it the press or was it you lot?
I killed her!
With his bare hands! But I was driving the bike. I
fucking killed your mum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mike's going.
And Philip goes, it was me all along.
And he's just like being half embalmed, being kept alive in this like
the thing
tank.
Is, he's going to have to get Jim Henson on board there to make him move now, because if you start seeing black sticks on his hands. But yeah, that kid has had to put up with that. The other kid, William, is already too far gone. He's more of a role than Charles would ever be.
He's in line to the throne, isn't he? And
so they've made that decision of, it's you first, Willie. So play the game.
I just think a lot of
Harry, long way off.
Yeah, I mean that could be the case, and that could be what's gone on. It could be that he's had enough and he just wants to get out. And by the way he acted and putting the royals in such a bad position, that's clear indication that he may think along them lines.
Yeah.
And also the people that are royalists and the people that are coming out backing the royals, they say, oh, Harry's this and Harry's that, and Meghan's this and Meghan's that. Then Prince Andrew, he has been seen with Jeffrey Epstein, who is a paedophile to the maximum. He was procuring young girls for sex parties with all the Hollywood elites.
Yeah.
And he was mysteriously killed. And there seems to be this huge sort of labyrinth going on of people involved into this pedo ring. You've got Ghislaine Maxwell now, who was Prince Andrew's best buddy from university. And yet no one seems to be bringing up Prince Andrew in this, and seems to be, the Queen. Everyone speaks highly of the Queen and how good she is, and, how much stuff she's done for the Commonwealth, and Meghan and Harry are so shit. The Queen has protected her son from being questioned by the FBI for having sex with an underage girl, for fuck's sake. And yet people want to come out and start saying how bad Harry and Meghan are.
That's what I mean. Wouldn't you want to get out?
So I just think people need to put it in perspective and not try and try and have an even sort of look at things without being...
It's not, oh, poor royal family.
Yeah.
Can't be that. Cannot be that. Prince Philip's in hospital. How dare they go on that? Come on.
Do you know what I mean? Andrew, this is one incident we know about Andrew with the girl. How many instances? He was seen on the island with Epstein. He's been seen how many times? They were friends. They went to the fucking Beatrice's wedding. So did, what's his name? The director. Hollywood director. Who was a horrible sex fiend.
Oh, God. Roman Polanski.
No.
Who?
Not Roman Polanski.
Who?
Recently. What's his name?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, yeah. What, Harvey Weinstein?
Harvey Weinstein was also at the... And there's a picture with Epstein, Weinstein and Maxwell at Beatrice's wedding.
Three amigos.
Three amigos, yeah. And they are... And do you know what I mean? The apple don't fall far from the tree. Andrew was involved in that. He obviously likes young girls. Let's get to it. Let's get to the facts. There ain't no smoke without fire. He's been caught, banged to rights.
But it's not been proven.
He's not been proven because he's a fucking royal.
Right.
And he's able to get away with it. He went to the interview.
Trump was also in that picture.
100%. I'm not denying that. But no, speaking about Andrew, and he went for that interview, and the interview just made him look so fucking stupid because he was clearly lying. And the stories don't back up that he couldn't sweat with fucking adrenaline that he got from the bloody Falklands War.
That's probably the only legit thing I took away, was like that poor bastard.
Yeah, let's be honest, mate. You're probably about fucking 10 miles from the front line. Let's be honest. You're not coming out making out that you're putting yourself on at risk. The royals can't be put on the firing line in war because they'll be used and they'll be taken captive. And that's, and now I've gone on cold with it because my mind's going like a million miles per hour. There's sides overall that I hate about the roles, and then the Meghan Harry interview and everything like that. But people need to look into it and need to prioritise the issues. And the main priority here is that the Queen has protected Andrew, who is a paedophile. And,
Yeah.
And when no one's talking about it, that it's how shit Meghan and Harry are, and
But I think it's also a very good swerve for them to say, let them have their moment. You're a lucky fucker, Andrew, that all this is happening.
Yeah.
Aside, come on,
fucking
play the game.
Lucky Corona happened.
Play the game.
Lucky Corona happened.
But this is the royal family, and Harry will always be connected with it. And you have to think, is there a big scheme of all of them working together to give Andrew a little bit more of a break? You just don't know, because let's face it, the royal family haven't been legit for fucking a long time. They give Jimmy Savile and Rolf Harris OBEs, for fuck's sake. So they haven't been legit for a long time. Prince Philip coming out of hospital. Did he say it wasn't Prince Philip that said it, or did he say it wasn't my dad or it wasn't my nan?
What's that? It wasn't Philip or the Queen that said.
I thought he said it wasn't my dad. So it could be it could be Charles.
I think he put Charles and William into the firing line.
Right, okay.
What colour's that baby going to be?
That's again. What colour's that baby going to be, Dill? Uncle Albert. But I don't know. I don't think, going back to what we were saying at the beginning, I don't know. Is it right for someone to turn around and go, what's the big idea? They only asked them what shade the baby's going to be. Or should everyone be thinking, no, that's fucking out of order. You shouldn't ask questions like that.
Yeah, again, it's based on two opinions, so you don't know. There's nothing.
But I could say it to you if you was with, if your wife was black, and I said to you, oh, are you concerned about what colour the baby's going to be? If it's going to be what? Are you going to turn around and go, well, that's it, I'm not speaking to you for the next 30 years, we're done? Or would you take it on chin and go, oh, no, I've not thought about it?
Yeah, I mean...
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all dependent on who it's coming from and how your family circle operates.
It's just hard to come to the right conclusion.
Of course. But should we all be...
Again,
no, I agree with her. That's fucking bang out of order. No one has the right to ask you that question anyway. But in that circle of the inbreeding over thousands of years, is that just a flippant comment that they make every fucking day of the week?
Yeah.
Of Prince Philip turning on a light at an opening and then going, oh, who did your electrics? An Indian? Come on, mate. Yeah. You can YouTube that. He's made so many racist comments, Prince Philip, because he's institutionalised to be that way.
Prince Philip, his mum was mad once. She was Greek, and his older sisters married Nazis.
Yeah.
And he went to, obviously, as a young man, was mixed with the Nazis during the Second World War. And there's pictures of him at a Nazi funeral, obviously, because he was attending his sister's funeral. And then the royals' history into the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha and changing the name during the First World War. You know, they changed the name because they were going to war with Germany, and they didn't want to have a German name, which is their
doesn't sound great to the public, does it?
No, we need to press the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha family. Yeah. So we're going to change it to Windsor.
And then get rid of all them old uniforms with the red armbands, but just save one for Harry when he goes to his party. I mean, to round it off, fuck them. Because at the end of the day, every wedding, every anniversary, the last one that we saw, when it pissed down and rained, and then poor fucking singers sitting out there singing fucking show tunes for them while they're all tapping their feet, while they're all getting covered in rain. And you just think that sums them right up. This isn't... They don't bring out nothing for us for what we give back to them. I mean, didn't the Queen Mum have like millions and millions of pounds of gambling debts? I
don't know, did she?
Sure she did.
She liked drink.
She did. And I've... no, I won't say it. But it is a system of people that work like a system. I blame her for not knowing what she was getting into, as if you don't. And then going, oh, it's quite a surprise to me. I can't call Harry's nanny's nan. I have to call her the Queen. Well, yeah, you stupid idiot. That's how things work. She's the Queen.
And there was also...
All right, Nana.
There was also a part of the interview where she said she had to Google to learn the national anthem. I mean, fucking hell. It's only a few sentences, but it seems to be like also... Poor me, I'm going full circle again because it's so up and down. But she did say that she had to Google to learn how to national anthem, and I just thought, wow, you try and make yourself look a victim here, but that's not the way to go about it.
Do you know the words to the national anthem?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Here we go.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save our Queen, send her victorious, happy and glorious. Long reign all over us, God save our Queen. That is it, isn't it?
Right, but you know that because you're from here. You hear it every football game.
Yeah, but what? So I don't understand though. Why is that victimised? Because she's the kind.
Because she had to Google it.
Google it.
So are you saying that they held it against her because she didn't know?
No, she just says she wasn't looked after, basically, and taught it how to be a royal.
But she's not. She never was gonna be.
About it. I'm sick of talking about her.
I was more concerned with the way Oprah Winfrey looks, because did you see the memes of her looking like Ian Wright in a wig?
I see that, yeah. But you got to be careful because a lot of people think that's racist.
Really? I'm not mentioning the colour of skin or anything, but she does look like Ian Wright in drag. Like a trans Ian Wright. But
can you imagine her smiling, she's got a big gold tooth. Like
yeah,
Ian.
And at the end of the interview, she fucking kicks a ball 500 yards and gets it crossbar challenge. And she goes, ooh. But yeah, that was really weird. And then saying we're not royals anymore. I've only got my mum's money to sit back on. We've got a Netflix series coming out. So I was like, oh, okay, it sort of starts fitting into place now. But I think that it's like Nigel Farage said, that we noticed that Oprah was at their wedding. I wonder if this is a thing that they've been stewing on for a long time.
I think it'll unfold, and we'll see how it plans out with the rules and what will happen with in regards to intentions. The rules are being cute in regards to announcement. I don't know they'll have a plan.
Now, what would your view on the rules be if the Queen said tomorrow, I'm going to hold one day at the end of every month, you're going to get my opinion on the last 4 weeks of events. So at the times, let's say it was during Brexit, you'll hear my view on Brexit, whether you like it or not.
Well, I think it would make her more engaged with the public. I think I would rather that, and I think I would say, well, okay, well, she's taking the goings on in current society, and she's going to have an opinion on it. That's not what the rules do, but no. I mean, she does.
But she can do if she wanted to, because as you said, it falls at her.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But she does her Christmas speech.
It's been a difficult year.
Yeah, it's been a difficult year. I haven't had to worry about any money because it's paid by the taxpayer.
Polish that iron throne, you cunt.
Philip, get out of bed, you corpse.
On a spring. You know that scene in Beetlejuice where they say, and then the jaw falls off. I have to put it back. And then he says something racist and then just falls back into bed.
We're joking, of course. We're joking.
But, yeah, I mean, just really fuck them. I can't stand it. I don't care when one of them has a sprog. Millions of people have babies every day. I'm not going to spend £1.50 on a flag to wave it because a couple's had sex. Big deal.
I think it's good, though, with the identity
baby
of the country, and they do belong to the public. What I don't agree with is the money side and them.
But again, going back to the flag wearers, the flag wavers that say, oh yeah, it's you can't be proud of being British now, or you can't be proud of liking the royal family. He's Greek, she's German. St George's Day, St George was in English. Again, he was Greek Cypriot. So we sort of take to, this is what I was saying to a guy the other day, we are the world's fucking worst of latching onto something that doesn't belong to us. Oh, Nigel, what we got? Tennis, for example. If someone comes from Europe, even though they're not from Europe, ours, we'll take him.
So shit.
Boxers, he's Canadian. No, not really.
Are you referring to Lennox Lewis?
Absolutely. Oh no, he's ours. We do it all the time. And yeah, we do. Of course we do.
I think we've done that. I think you're using that because, I think Greg Grzeski is probably what you were referring to, who was Canadian-American. I can't remember. And he had an American accent, but he reverted to his English. But England hadn't had any good tennis players since basically Andy Murray. And we had to deal with Tim Henman, who would just go.
Yeah, it was the greatest English tennis player that ever lived.
Andy Murray's Scottish.
Who turned around and basically went, I'm Scottish.
Well, he is.
Fair play to him, because we've got no claim to him whatsoever.
And he is literally the most. I don't know him, so I can't. But he's not a likable. He doesn't portray himself to be likable because he seems quite dull.
But I can imagine that. Come on, how many happy Scottish people do you see after fucking 8 cans of special brew? It's most probably they've had for breakfast.
That's a bit harsh. It's a bit harsh on Scottish people. Fucking hell.
All right, I'm not saying they're all ginger hair, kilt wearing ginger hair.
Yeah.
See you, Jimmy. All those ones. I'm not saying they're like those. Those probably exist. But on the outer parts.
Yeah. But you're stereotyping.
I'm not. It's true. That's what they look like. Right. No, I'm joking. But what I'm saying is
because I think everyone would have in English. What would you have as a stereotypical Englishman?
Bowler hat, umbrella swinging.
Come on, England! Come on, England!
The Avengers.
You watch Sam? That's what people. No, I had a conversation with Jack Barsky, who's a KGB agent, and we spoke. And he's an American citizen now. And initially, I just said, doing my intro, I spoke to him and I just said, we've got this chap on today. And he goes, you speak so nicely and sort of in a quite a posh way. I went, Jack, you don't know the real story about the English, mate. They see us as this sort of, oh, hello, governor. Oi, hello, yes, how do you do?
Tea and crumpets, what?
Yeah.
Every war film.
Yeah. Do you want a cup of tea, old boy? like that.
Back home for kippers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Back to Blighty. That's the way you see us. But, that's not what we really are.
We are Union Jack boxer short wearing pissheads that go to Spain and occupy their hospitals for fucking 9 months out of a year.
There are that.
We lose a game of football against the Germans and we end up vandalising a sausage van.
Oh, you can. Yeah. There are them, like, people that are like, you what, Sam?
Yeah.
Come on!
I've got that bulldog on my arm tattoo.
yeah, the old you like Jack, but they are. That's how all Englishmen are seen. It's a stereotype.
Yeah.
How would you stereotype Welsh people?
A Welsh stereotype, sheep shaggers. Australians, cork wearing, hat wearing, fucking drinking beers, sitting on dicks. Wooden dicks. I mean, I'm doing an Australian accent. They're garden dicks. Again, it's like if you watch an American film and that someone comes over to England, it is either a punk with a Mohican in a leather jacket, what are you looking at, mate? Or it is your, hello.
Yeah. Doodle pip.
But that is spot on, because look at all of our politicians. They're all umbrella swinging
they're all
toffs.
part of they're private schoolboys.
Exactly. Soggy biscuit playing weirdos.
Yeah. Oh, as it were, and all this.
Oh, I did it first. But
that is a problem with our politicians, that they all seem to be this stereotypical
Hogwarts
private schoolboy, as it were, jolly gosh, and I have no actual comprehension of how normal people live. And
but if it's the way I have to win the game, I'll do it.
But it seems to have transpired into the way that they've implemented these lockdowns, because they all have 4 acres of land out over in fucking Wiltshire or wherever it is, and they don't seem to think about the people that are in a tower block and haven't got to go outside, and they haven't got a garden, they haven't got this, and they haven't got...
Now let's go full circle to where we were talking about at the beginning with that horrendous murder and the protests. Where was the protest of that Conservative politician that got found with grade 1 child porn on his phone and computer and got 10 months community service? I can't remember the guy's name. We were talking about it the other day. Do you remember? There's a Conservative MP got caught with child porn.
That's right.
And he didn't go to prison. Not one protest, not one newspaper article, not one nothing. If you could look it up, Jamie.
Look it up, Jamie. I'm going to look it up now. Child porn Conservative, yeah?
Yeah. You might get one of them.
There'll be
150,000 pages.
There'll be tons, right?
Allegedly.
Right.
What's his
Ex-Tory
name?
can-make child image offences. His name was Mark Larigo.
That's it. Boo you.
From Coventry. Mark Larigo, 49, Coventry, pleaded guilty to all 8 charges faced at Warwick Crown Court. The NCA, which investigated Larigo, had 1,005 illegal images on his iPad, and these included 146 images rated as most serious category A. And
what did he get? Can you look up? I'm sure it was 10 months community service. Didn't even go to prison.
He doesn't.
Doesn't say.
Hold on.
Fucking scumbag.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I don't know. It got 150 hours unpaid work.
So where's your protests on that? What are you doing? I don't get it. That man got away with child porn. That's a sex offender. I don't understand. You can't pick and choose your spots. Be fucking vigilant to a cause and appreciate it.
When Sarah Everard was missing also, but there was also lots of kids at the same time in London that were missing. And
but no one gives a shit.
It seems like they grasped onto it, because I feel really bad for Sarah Everard's family. And
so do I.
It's fucking terrible.
Because they've got to see this on the news.
It's terrible that he's being drawn into this, and I'm trying to separate it, because it's nothing to do with her.
No,
that poor girl.
No, it's not.
And her family.
No.
It's terrible. And it just seems like the because it ticked all the boxes of being a man and woman in London. Yeah. And they've jumped on it, but but
don't get me wrong, solve it quite easily. Police, step up, change some laws. Make it arrestable offence to stalk someone. Don't wait for them to get stabbed. Let's change the law to having a pepper spray is the same law as holding a fucking handgun. Let's put that to bed. Let's put that to bed and let women be able to defend themselves, because it doesn't work the other way
had
around.
That woman in for the Green Party, I can't remember her name, but she said that she's going to put it forward for men to have a curfew at 6 p.m. I mean,
that's ridiculous.
Let's
not be stupid.
Just making that comment alone, I just think it's a little bit worrying the mindset. But that is the Green Party.
No more stupid as what's her name? Carissa Dick? Is it?
Cressida
Dick.
Yeah.
That turned around and said, "Oh, I would have been there if it was a legal thing. Don't say stupid things like that. You're really in big trouble, you idiot. You fucking idiot."
She's a typical. She's part of this. Who would want to be a police officer?
Who would want to be a police officer now?
Who would want to be a police officer
right
anyway
now?
Before it happened? The police. There's an attack on the police going on with this movement with BLM, even Extinction Rebellion. They were fighting the police, but it seems BLM and now this movement that's gone on from Sarah Everard because of the policeman. What he's doing is rapidly generalising every police officer.
Yeah.
Being that, yes, there would have been some major issues in what's happened with Sarah Everard and what they didn't investigate, and they may have let him go. It'll all unfold, and the people that are responsible for it should be punished, sacked, whatever. But be very careful in what you're doing, because these movements and rapid generalisation of the police are only going to cause mass damage towards the police. They're going to have less. They're going to have less authority. They're going to be less respected. And do you know what that's going to total in? No fucker wanting to be a police officer.
No.
You're going to have people that are too scared to fucking move. Okay. And when it comes to a point where they're trying to save someone's life or turn up to try and help people out, they ain't going to have a fucking leg to stand on.
The police already done their damage by saying there's not enough of us out on the street, so we're going to put PCOs out. You'll respect a PCO, won't you? Of course you will. You'll treat them with respect, and you won't call them fake coppers and say you're not entitled to arrest us, you can't do fuck all. Of course you won't, because they're just like real police, aren't they? No, they're not. They're not. You're not going to respect the PCO because you know they can't do anything. But we're one of the only countries in the world that do it, because there's not enough police out there to do it. There's not enough police out there. Police should be the only people that you go for, that when you ring up, that they should be there, that women should be able to go to, because there's nobody left for them. Whether you've escaped drugging in a club, again, doesn't happen the other way around. There must be someone you can go to, and it's failed them. So change the laws and make it right. Let them defend themselves. Start changing some fucking laws, so if a bloke starts following them for more than 2 weeks, you don't have to wait until they're murdered to do something about it. Let's start fucking changing it, and then all this will stop.
Amen, bruh.
It will all stop. And I'm only saying that because I'm terrified of women and I'm not a good fighter.
No, wrong one. No, definitely the wrong one. Can you get rid of that? That's it, you can get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, it's...
things need to change.
Things need to change things. I don't know where it's going to go, but...
hopefully towards the better. So we don't see any more of these protests, because we won't need them.
Yep, no, I completely agree. We're going to wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. What else you got to say?
I will actually say,
go on.
Thank you for everyone that leaves nice comments on the videos that I'm in. Because I'm no one. I'm not a famous person. I haven't got a backstory that I can repeat on YouTube. But thanks very much for your nice comments.
Yeah, it's nice to get comments on, and even we've had negative and positive, vast majority of positive, but I've had some certain shows that have been negative, and I've had some interesting comments. But it's subjective, and you take it how you want. Exactly. And if you comment, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you like, make sure you let me know if you like the show or not.
Yeah, or if I'm better than Joe.
Or if he's better than me, yeah.
Just put it down, or just say, it's just better, or in general.
And if you've got a negative comment to say, make sure it's about Moose and not about me. And if it's about me, then
you're wasting your time. I'll report you.
I'll report you. I will promptly delete it because I don't like seeing any negative stuff towards me. And that's just the way it is.
But if anyone's got any suggestions about what we should talk about next time we do one of these, because...
yeah. I've got some good guests lined up. Unfortunately,
I'm talking about when I'm on, when you don't.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, give us some subjects to talk about when Moose is on, when we're scraping the barrel and getting Moose on.
because we struggle.
We struggle. Wrapping it up then, Moose, thanks very much.
No worries.
Make sure you tune into the next show and like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.